All right, and we are live. Guys, sorry, shuffling to get myself comfortable here. Guys, as I promised, I would be straight back after my video on the feminist defense forces in Australia with an ex-ADF member, Godbotherer. Welcome, Godbotherer. How you doing, buddy?
Oh, I'm all right, Sydney. Just the usual bullshit of Sydney.
Yeah.
Not you, the city.
Yeah, I feel you, man. I feel you. I know what it's all about. It's all good. So, mate, tell me a little bit about your experience and what you've actually, gone through yourself having been in the ADF.
What I experienced was a lot of bullshit, a lot of multicultural bullshit, a lot of pro-feminist bullshit, a lot of lowering of standards bullshit to make women get in bullshit. You can probably just wonder why I'm saying the word bullshit a lot, because it pretty much was bullshit. When it came to any exercise or any test or anything we did out in the field, any training, we had to obviously help the women. So you would have women that were short, fat ass, fat tits. You had to help them out. If you didn't, well, you're not part of a team, and you get fucked over. They had all sorts of ways to fuck you over if you wouldn't look after a colleague. But the women could play the I'm a girl defense and get away with being fat and lazy, but the men had to aspire to these superhuman fucking standards, and the fitness standards are lowered, or they were lowered when I was in there a while ago. And it just, by seeing your recent video, it just looks like that they have gotten even lower since I was in there. I mean, the older you get, and so it was automatically a lowering of standards. So if you're a male under 25, you have the highest of high standards. You have to aspire to that. If you're a female that's under 25, they drop the standards for you. If you're and then if you're older, the standards get dropped, whether you're male or female. So they drop down in increments, basically to the point where you can be a few years away from retirement age and basically a fucking Homer Simpson, just someone who sits there and looks at a computer screen and just eats donuts all day long and do fuck all, and you can still pass. It's a crock of shit when it comes to
still pass as a woman, right, or as a male as well?
Males as well. So the older you get as a male, the lower your standards go. But it's just the women automatically have lower standards. So if you're a male between 25 and 30, and you have a set of standards. If you're a female between 25 and 30, well, those standards are lowered even more. And it's just so that women are always given a handicap
was there a particular, I guess, age tier or point at which they said, okay, well, you're both on the same standard now, but so low we can't go any lower? Or was it at every tier women had a lower standard?
Every tier women had a lower standard.
Wow.
Yeah.
Just wow. Just can't even. And look, and as I was saying in the video, and I'm sure you agree with me, Godbotherer, for eons, men have been slaughtered hand over foot in battle, and nobody gives a shit except the families of them. But yet, if women were to start getting slaughtered in the battlefields, because the thing is, since this affirmative action push, we haven't had a world war. Like, we haven't had like a World War III or like a World War II or World War I. I know World War III is kind of like the metaphor you use for shit's about to go down. It hasn't actually happened yet.
Well, technically speaking, we have been through a world war, because the world has been at war in the Middle East. Basically, you look at the way how the whole war in the Middle East has been. I mean, virtually most members of the G20 have been fighting in the Middle East. So there has been a world war as such, but it's the whole world war aspect. Well, yeah, that they have women obviously in the defense force today, but they want to do all of these active combat roles, and when I was in it, there was talk about it back then about women joining the front line combat roles, and the argument was put out to the guys who were already in those units that dealt with combat, and they were immediately told straight up, so what's your reason why or against women being in frontline combat? You know, tell us your reason, but you can't say that women need to wash every 28 days, and you can't say that women aren't as strong as men. So they were given the right of reply as to why they didn't want women to be able to join the front line, but they were told, but you're excluded from using these two arguments that we know are true anyway, but we just want to try and say, gotcha. And they thought about it and said, well, put it this way. If a woman is down on the front line, what will happen is that male nature, the caring nature of men, will automatically think of the damsel in distress before he thinks about the main cause.
Male colleagues, correct.
And they realised, shit, okay, point taken.
Yeah, all of our strong men are dying because we're saving the women's first. Wow.
And men will only get worse if women are put into situations, I mean, like that, where, because men will always be thinking about women. I mean, it's like you go to a school and you always see if the boys get bullied, the teachers don't give a shit. If a girl drops her little Barbie doll in the fucking mud, oh, you poor thing, here, come and get a cuddle. Oh, yeah, it's that bullshit.
Yeah, let's rinse it off. Let's get that dried up for you. Let's fucking comb her hair and sit in a safe space in the corner and eat fucking Anzac biscuits, even though it's not Anzac Day.
Yeah, meanwhile, the boy is getting bullied. He's being hung upside down by a tree branch, getting living shit smacked out of him, spat on, and then he's told, well, what are you doing to make the bullies want to hate you? Whereas it's that same bullshit where the females will always be the damsels in distress. But I mean, you would go and do all of these tests, like these fitness tests or activities to prove your agility and strength. And if the females couldn't jump over the 6-foot wall because they had a massive pair of tits in front of them and they couldn't lift themselves up, the men had to help them out. But if a man couldn't lift himself up over the 6-foot wall, oh, you're a fat cunt. Fuck off.
Yeah, get the fuck out of the Defence Force.
That's right. And you, well, it wasn't just that. They would use all these other fucking left-wing dictionary words to basically argue that you're a useless piece of shit. But it's all right for the women to be fat, useless pieces of shit. But if a man is struggling, and I would see so many women get a free pass because they were just weak, or I can't help it. My muscles have been worn out because I've pushed a few children out of it, and that's why I've got a sore back. Oh, okay, well, you're exempt. But men, it'd be, oh, well, I injured this part of me playing football, and when and a scrum collapsed on me. Oh, well, stiff shit. You just deal with it. Just get stronger, or you're not doing something about it. Hang on, you get a break in sport, and if you've ever been injured, you know that there are some injuries you get, they don't repair themselves. But yet women get these standards lowered, and they will be, even with the standards lowered, they're still worse than a man who's gone into the Defence Force after having a few too many twists of the knee in a rugby scrum on a rainy day. It's bullshit. But he's told, no, if you can't get to these standards, off you go. Back on a civvy street, piss off. And then they get back on a civvy street. They realise, oh, I wasted my energy, my life for this honour. And that's the thing, is that they really drum this honour into you, that, oh, the honourable job of being a member of the Defence Force, and, oh, the soldier with pride, and you get here, here's a fucking medal, and here's a uniform. But realistically, you're a fucking public servant in uniform, and you're just a mercenary for the government. And all of this honour that's being drummed in. I mean, and what pisses me off with our government, Sydney, as you know, we're told, don't be racist to the Muslims in fucking Liverpool or fucking Lakemba or all that, or Auburn. Don't be racist to all those and call them ragheads, towelheads, and think that they want to harm you and steal your shit and rape your women. That's racist. That's racism. However, our government are using our military to go and bomb the shit out of other Muslims in the Middle East who are not harming us at all. They're not in the streets of southwestern Sydney causing crime. No, they're living over in the Middle East trying to get on with their lives. But, the good old fucking Aussie government, with the help of other fucking governments from around the world, are being racist, dropping bombs on them, brainwashing all of us that, these evil people are terrorists and we're doing this to keep you safe. What a load of fucking bullshit.
Yeah,
and,
that is a load of bullshit.
Yeah, and now our auto industry has basically been collapsed. We don't produce cars anymore. But we do produce cars these days, cars for the military, because the industries that we had for civilian purposes have been killed off, and we're told, we need all of this war, we need all this defense spending, so we're becoming this big perennial war machine that our income and our industries are all going to be based around defence, and we're brainwashed by our government. Well, we need to, one, protect your families from terrorism, and then two, we also need to create jobs. This is a good way to create jobs. Well, Japan doesn't go around blowing up the world, do they? No, but they make lots of profits by selling high-performance sports cars that are a lot better quality than our fucking Aussie-made shit boxes that we were peddling, subsidised by taxpayer fucking dollars.
Correct.
Well, they don't go around obliterating the earth, and they seem to have jobs and industry, and people live a nice, happy life over there. It's the bullshit we're being fed.
Well, it's funny, right? Because you said they go over living a nice, happy life over there. Most of the Japanese guys over there are MGTOW.
That's right.
Because most guys, there's so many Asian guys over there that don't even have sex, a lot of the women don't either.
Well, the women do.
At least they're happy, right?
Oh, no, the women do, because they go and appear in Japanese porn, and you got these glamorous 20-year-old Japanese female porn stars that are having sex with these disgustingly gross, spot-faced, wrinkly old men in their 70s, and you just think, it's disgusting.
Yep, exactly. But, what's the bet? That's misogyny, right?
Oh, yeah, it's all male patriarchy that a woman can empower herself by having sex on camera for money. It's all male patriarchy.
Hey, by the way, Godbotherer, I'd like to share a little something with you. This is not something I'd planned to share, but it's just when you mentioned the left-wing definitions and, using special words to, like inclusivity and, equity and all of these words, right? All of these leftist buzzwords. It's just got me thinking about leftist buzzwords where they used to be normal words and now they're leftist buzzwords, right? I'm going to screen share something with you and all of my viewers right now. You are going to love this.
What, a bit like how the left wing has hijacked the word fake news and have used it for anything Alex Jones says?
Exactly. Let's have a look at this, right? So, can you see that? Hang on, I'll present this to everyone. All right, can you see that all right? Let me know when you can see it.
Yeah, I can see it.
Okay, see that misogyny, right? The hatred of women. Now, this dictionary is quite old, as it so happens. Give me 1 second. I'm just going to give myself a new tab over here. Give me a second. I'm just going to quickly have a look, because I actually also took a photo of the page which shows sort of when it was done and what the actual age of the dictionary is. Here we go. Can I rotate this? Looks like I can. Perfect. So, could you see any of that just now or not really?
I still got the dictionary in front of me.
Okay. So, to my viewers, you won't be able to see that just yet. I'm about to reshare everything with you. Screen sharing presenting to everyone. Perfect. That's fine. So here we go. Concise Oxford Dictionary of Current English. Now, this is the first edition, or it's somewhere in the middle there. Basically, this is a really old one. If you can see that binding there. Now, I'm 38. My mum had this when I was in primary school. So this would be probably over 30 years old, this dictionary, right? And the 30-plus-year-old definition of misogyny is the hatred of women. Now, I don't know if you know this, and a lot of you guys watching this probably don't know this, but the people who actually manage and print the Oxford Dictionary, which in the past, to me, was one of the most trusted dictionaries on the planet. Now, it's actually run by a little body called the University of Oxford Press. Now, University of Oxford has actually gone full SJW. So, Heterodox Academy. Let me just quickly find this. So the Heterodox Academy is actually a thing that was brought up to pretty much rate universities and show exactly where they sort of sit in the overall scheme of things. So it talks about the problem, which is the surest sign that a community suffers from a deficit of viewpoint diversity is the presence of orthodoxy, and most readily apparent when members fear shame, ostracism, or form of social retaliation for questioning or challenging a commonly held idea, like feminism, right, Godbotherer?
Well, well, that's bluntly black and white, yeah.
Okay, so where is it? There was actually a listing in sequence of the least SJW unis to the most SJW unis. Somewhere on here. Where is it? Surely I've got. Okay, rates America's. Here we go. Guide to colleges. This rates America's top 200 universities according to the degree of viewpoint diversity you can expect to find on campus. So, guys, if you are, especially if you're in America, if you haven't checked this out, check out heterodoxacademy.org. The link is up there. Please write it down. Oh, God, top 50 liberal arts schools in the US. Let's see. So, which uni was it we were looking at for a second there? Oxford University, that's right. So, Oxford. Oh, God. Oh, God. Oxford University is a liberal arts college. Okay. So, so basically, one is the is from my understanding is the best. So the top 150 universities. Let's just see which one. University of Chicago. How do we? So Oregon's full SJW. You can see all the red and the yellow there, so that's obviously bad. But where are we? Where are we? So Oxford University of Mississippi is like 78th out of 95. I don't know. Wait, I don't even know how to read this, to be honest.
Yeah, it looks like they're including some American colleges, and there's probably a lot of American towns that have English town names to them as well.
Okay, so let's go to Oxford there. Let's see what these both say, because I'm trying to. Anyway, look.
Yeah, that's Miami University in Oxford, Ohio. So that's not the Oxford University in the UK.
Wait, that's because I'm not in the top 50 liberal arts. Sorry, it's my bad. That's my bad. Oxford. I don't know, whatever. Anyway, look, I mean, long story short, I know that Oxford is one of the really bad SJW universities. Social Justice, Oxford University. Here we go, Centre for the Study of Social Justice as a forum for Oxford's distinguished grouping of political theorists. So here we go, Social Justice, Oxford University Press. This is what I was saying before. So Oxford University Press are the body that actually make the dictionary. And that they have, let's go some keywords: social justice, educating for social justice through inclusion, social justice, medicine and social justice. Come on. Sex and social justice, health and social justice, buying social justice, social work and social justice, economic growth with social justice, free markets and social justice, sentencing policy and social justice, linguistic diversity and social justice. And that's page 1 of 119.
Yeah, the fault of the universities these days is you have these professional students who are in there since about the 1970s when university tuition became free. So you have all these baby boomers who've been given a free ride since they were basically legally adults, and they haven't had to do dick all in their lives apart from just walk in and talk shit for 40 odd years. They become these academics. They end up becoming professors. But to be a professor, you just need to sit your ass in university for most of your life. You haven't had to go out there and live a real life experience.
Correct.
I mean, there are people who pick up garbage out in the parks and out on the beaches and all that. They have more of an idea of the real world than these university professors and lecturers who have basically been baby boomers sitting in there with a cushy job. And you look at the baby boomers, they invented feminism, social justice, because they're all about ending the Vietnam War. And nothing says hypocrisy like a draft-dodging baby boomer who bitches about the generation of today not following and obeying laws on our highways. That's another story for another fucking day. But you look at all of the bullshit the baby boomers have caused, like freedom of speech. But they want to suppress our speech because it might hurt someone's feelings. So
because we don't agree with them.
Yeah, because we don't agree with baby boomers' bullshit.
Because they hate being wrong.
Yeah, they hate being told that they fucked up our economy by having a free ride and slumming it. And then you look at other things like feminism. They created that because, that's right, all of these baby boomers in the 70s wanted the right to keep their illegitimate children, but then they also had no way of being able to go and work and finance those children to raise them, so they introduced the welfare scheme to be able to sit on their ass and be given free money, well, not free money, taxpayer money, to raise that child. And then the sex culture, so they wanted all the free love. So the baby boomers invented the orgies back in the 60s and 70s. Only now they bitch about how sexualized music videos are today and how their grandchildren are, barely illegal, and they're more sexually.
How their granddaughters are dumpsters.
Yeah. So they're bitching about that now, whereas you bastards invented it all those years ago. But they love sitting in these universities for 30, 40 odd fucking years.
Yep.
Having our taxpayer money,
but doing nothing about it.
Yep, claiming they know everything, claiming they're academics and they're intelligent, but all they know how to do is talk shit. They're like those idiots in the pubs who think they're good at reciting Melbourne Cup trivia when it comes to pub trivia night, and somehow that means that they're smart because they know who won the fucking Melbourne Cup of 19 fucking whatever, or who won what fucking golf tournament, or it's bullshit like that. They might know all of these left-wing fucking click words and shit, but they have caused all of this shit. And now we have it where in the public service, our taxes are fucking high, whether it's state taxes or federal taxes. They're so high because you have all of these women now working for the government, whether it's state government in the state agencies or federal government in the shit like bureaucracy or even Defence Force. Because the women want, I want to be a career mum. I want to be a woman. I want to be a strong and independent woman. I want a career, but I also want to be a mum. So we now have free daycare on military bases, so they can be a mum but still have children. So they're giving them all these freebies, generous maternity leave packages, And this is all the baby boomers are
lower commitment periods.
Yep.
Help from the men who have already had to bust their ass to meet their fitness tests. After they're completely exhausted and expended of all their energy because they've worked so fucking hard because their standards are up here, right? Like right up in the sky. They've now got to lift this fat bitch over who hasn't made an effort.
Yep, exactly. And
people might get offended about me calling, fat bitch, but if you're a fat bitch, you're a fat bitch. If you're a fat slob, you're a fat slob. There's no two ways about it. I don't call a spade a fucking strawberry. I call it a spade.
Fucking oath.
So I'm actually gonna go back to me in a second, but if you actually have a look at that picture, right, the misogyny, which is the hatred, misogamy is the hatred of marriage. So MGTOWs are misogamists, not misogynists. That's where they went wrong.
No, misogamy, aren't they those feminists who say marriage is nothing but a piece of paper and it's an old, archaic religious tradition? Oh, but we really need gays to join in on the marriage campaign.
Exactly. But you know what? I was going to finish this because otherwise we're going to get sidetracked. But so misogyny in a 30-something-year-old Oxford dictionary was the hatred of women, period. There was no, elaborating on it. There was no extra nonsense. It was just, that's what it is, period. Now, if we actually go and have a look at what the SJWs at the University of Oxford Press have now done, dislike of, contempt for, or ingrained prejudice against women. For example, she felt she was struggling against thinly disguised misogyny.
Sounds like a former prime minister of ours, doesn't that?
What's that?
Sounds like a former prime minister we had a few years ago.
I will not be lectured by this man about misogyny.
I will not be lectured by this man on misogyny.
And she didn't even know what misogyny meant. She was that fucking stupid, and she was the leader of our country. Come on.
But she knew what a slush fund was and denied it.
Yeah, exactly. So here we go. Prejudice, preconceived opinion that is not based on reason or actual experience. So preconceived opinion that's not based on reason or action. So ingrained preconceived opinions not based on actual experience against women. So it can be anything, basically.
Yeah, like I don't like the way how mothers think that they deserve a special parking spot in shopping centres as though that being a mother is a form of disability. Oh, I'm a misogynist.
Yep. Oh, here we go. Here's some other sentence examples. This will be good from the University Press. It's a travesty that there is still misogyny and sexism in the labour movement. No, I think you're just talking about sexism that doesn't even exist. So you're an idiot.
Yeah, but what's the labour movement these days? Because the Labor Party today, none of them in the Labor Party have held a real blue-collar job. They're all ex-union officials, or they're all just feminists groomed in university, or ex-public servants.
Correct.
None of them are ex-blue collar. None of them are ex-real men. That's why, because the men are leaving the Labor Party because they're seeing it as bullshit. They're looking at the Labor Party and they're wondering, as they're getting up early in the morning before the sun's risen and they're getting covered in dirt before morning smoko, they're realising none of these bastards in the Labor Party have fucking done the type of work that I'm doing right now.
Yeah. And like, I've got to be honest, man. I think our only hope for the next federal election is Pauline Hanson. And I'm not a political guy, right? I'm sick of the leftist bullshit. But all that aside, I mean, we've got, and I've done this in numerous of my videos, we've got Malcolm Turnbull, our current Australian Prime Minister, declaring himself as a feminist. We've got the Greens with Richard Di Natale and bloody Sarah Hanson-Young, who, how the hell did she get into politics? How the hell did that happen? I just can't even fathom it. Right?
University.
So this is the Labour of the Greens. Right? So, so you've got Shorten, who's constantly in trouble about misappropriating taxpayer funds, lying about stuff, being in cahoots with these union officials that are just so corrupt beyond words. And then you've got the Liberal Party leader who's a devout feminist, right? Who not about men's rights at all, only about virtue signaling to women. And then you've got the Greens that have freaking lost the plot to the point where the Greens in SA were so hell-bent on these green targets for electricity that they had a statewide blackout because they were leaning too heavily on renewable energy. And then everyone wants to have a sook and scream when Pauline Hanson suggested, well, maybe we still need a bit of coal-fired plants for reliability. But no, we can't have that because that's not social justice.
No, South Australia wasn't reliant on renewable energy. They were reliant on 2 brown coal-fired fed interconnectors from Victoria to supply, and they got blown over in the storms.
Okay, good to know. Good to know. Because I know I was doing a lot of reading about green energy targets there, and people were saying, no, you actually need a more sustainable solution. So thank you for that extra information. I actually really enjoy learning extra things that I didn't know before.
The green power there was intermittent, so it was just it was a virtue signal. It was, look at these windmills, we're doing something for the environment, but they were relying heavily on Victorian brown coal supplied interconnectors coming over the border to power up the state of South Australia.
That's the missing piece of the puzzle. Why am I not surprised?
Yeah, so it's a bit like when you walk past an Apple shop and you go past, when you're seeing all those idiots there buying another iPhone, worshipping the shit out of it, and they like virtue signaling about ending slavery and ending slavery symbols in the US of A and tearing down statues. However, they're tweeting all of that shit on an iPhone produced in China by people who are treated like slaves because they're not part of the Chinese Communist Party. So how can you argue for tearing down of a statue of a so-called slave owner in America when you're using a phone produced by modern-day slavery? I'll never know. But you look at the way how those Apple stores used to have, this shop is powered by 100% green or renewable energy. And I'm thinking, well, I know how the electricity gets there, and it's not from a fucking wind turbine on top of the building. No, it's all fed from a grid. You got all the coal fire, the wind, the hydro, gas fire. It's all chucked onto a grid, and they're all electrons floating around. So when they used to bullshit to all the hipsters saying, oh, look, we're powered by these windmills and solar panels, what a load of bullshit, because most of those electrons came from coal-fired power.
Unbelievable.
They just the electricity from a retailer who says, oh, no, we only retail renewable energy, but you're still getting coal fire through the grid because coal fire makes up 80% of New South Wales electricity.
Yeah, it's just truly unbelievable. It really is. So much virtue signaling, so much bullshit, so many lies and smoke and mirrors to to basically gain some sort of political virtue signaling platform to make yourself look amazing so that you can get in at the next election so you can make more of this for yourself.
Well, it's like that with the Defence Force. And as we were saying, with the standards being lowered. So you lower the standards, you make it look like that, oh, look at all these women in our Defence Forces. But why are we having all these women in? I can understand, all right, you need women for nurses and you need it for clerical and cooks, and there are roles that women do well in our Defence Forces. But to say, oh, look, here's a career you can have in our Defence Force. Well, what are the women doing? Are they actually building things, or are they just saying, oh, I'm a girl, I can't lift that. No, I need a big, strong man to lift this for me. That's what they do. They're just virtue signaling, and it helps with elections. It's like when politicians say, oh, well, we've lowered unemployment, or we've made the trains run on time. Now, I'm not sure if you were here, if you were in Sydney when the Labor Party had their 16-year reign, and they said that the trains were running on time, and the on-time running of trains has been the best it ever has. But to categorize a train running as on time was if it arrived at the station, whether it was on time or 5 minutes late or up to 5 minutes late, it was classed as on time. Same as when John Howard basically cooked the books and said, oh, I've lowered unemployment. So if you're receiving at least 1 hour of work a week, you're classed as employed. Not if you receive a 38-hour week of work full time plus your holiday pay, sick pay, and all that, then that's classed as employed. No, and that's what the government's doing with giving all these women opportunities in the Defence Force and saying, oh, look, your government cares about women, And it's all about votes. It's about making it look like they care about women. So the women are going to vote for them. You got those pussy-whipped men who claim their women are the better half, or the wife is the boss of the house, or she controls the money, and they always have to ask permission. So they're going to vote for those politicians who provide all of these jobs. But they're just public service jobs. They're not private sector jobs. They're not doing anything. They're just pumping women in to the military. Because why? Well, how do we start to fight wars now? Using drones and punching in coordinates into a computer. So you have these women operators punching numbers into a computer, and a drone does the dirty work. And all the men do is they go down in an actual battle zone, and they're the ones who are at risk of getting blown up by a woman who can't read a fucking map. And we all know what women are like with street directories. That's why sat-navs have saved a lot of marriages.
Well, all I know is that my mother and father used to fight like cats and dogs over directions. So, I mean, I'm not saying anything about that, but I'm sort of saying something at the same time.
Yeah, it's virtue signaling bullshit, and the whole lowering of the standards for the military. It's one, virtue signaling bullshit, but two, it's a big pork barrel. It's like when politicians just throw money at an electorate and say, oh, we're doing this for you, because they know that there are votes to be won. There's that too, but it's also, it's putting pussy on a pedestal, but
Absolutely it is.
It's politically putting pussy on a pedestal, and the men are shit. But the government is reliant on defence jobs now, because our auto industry's gone offshore. We're now importing cars. We don't produce cars. What do we produce these days? I mean, we produce a lot of alcohol. We produce a lot of nightclubs. We produce a lot of patients in hospitals caused by nightclubs. We produce a lot of security guards to patrol those nightclubs. You have men are leaving the Defence Force because of all this bullshit. But now we have the men are going onto construction sites to earn a living, because they want to be able to go where there's no women. You look on construction sites now, and there are women doing occupational health and safety, and they're pointing and telling men that they're not doing it right. And I drive past and I see these women that, of course I catch a bit of a glance, because I'm looking at these women as I'm driving along, going, oh, what a spankable ass you have. And I'm just thinking about how I'd like to grab a nice chunk of their ass cheek, just a nice healthy red-blooded male. Why not? You're going to look, of course. But because I'm perving on them, I'm watching what they're doing as well, and seeing how they're basically bossing men around and giving them bottles of water when it's still cold, like the weather's still cold, the sun's barely risen, and they're saying, oh, you need to rehydrate. And I mean, I'm a man. I don't need to be told by a woman, to rehydrate. If a woman sticks a bottle of water in my face, no. But if she says, oh, in case you guys are thirsty, here's an esky. Yeah. But the women are now on these job sites, and we're having more and more women in construction, but they're not in construction. The men are doing the construction work. The women are doing all of the finger pointing. But we have this massive construction boom because the banks want it, and we have all of this money being printed by the banks, and then we're filling it up with all of these people from overseas, whether they're on welfare or not. I mean, even if they're on welfare, somehow it prevents the currency from hyperinflation. So you look at the argument, oh, well, why does the government need to borrow money to build the infrastructure? Why can't it print the money from the mint? That they own the mint that prints the money. And then they argue, well, the bankers and economists and all that argue, oh, well, that just causes hyperinflation. But the banks print the money, or they print numbers on a check and give it to developers, and then the developers don't pay their bills. And we have this huge, and the developers don't even pay the debt back. So we have all this money out there that's been printed, and how do we suppress this? We got all this hyperinflation that'll happen because of all this pretty much counterfeit money, or overly printed money. So how do we prevent the hyperinflation? Well, we got to import more foreigners. So we're importing everyone from Asia, India, and now Africa as well. We're just chucking them all in. So you have the government that are providing these jobs for women who, they say, oh, well, the argument is, well, I need a nice secure job because the private sector is going to collapse with all of this money that's being bullshitted into our economy with this construction boom. And you have all these foreigners being packed in, and the wages are going to be depreciated in the private sector, but the foreigners can't get into the defence force unless they become a citizen. So if you're an Australian woman and you want a secure job, we're going to lower the standard so you have a secure job and you keep voting for us, because who knows if the economy is going to crash when the construction boom that we see in Sydney and Melbourne, the debt can't be paid back and the currency hyperinflates unless we keep importing more people for this printed money. There's a fucking scam in it. There's a big corporate scam in it, and that corporate scam's coming out of fucking Martin Place in Sydney, and it's birthed by the banks. And then you got and then you got all the other corruption down there in Melbourne with all the trade unions, and it's just he just got two sides having a battle, and we're just the pawns on a chessboard.
Absolutely, we are. That's exactly right. And Seshu just said the socialist government's driving us down the same road as every other communist government ever. Look, that's so true, right? Because like you've got the communist government, and then you've got basically all of the sub-government populace, which is the majority, and they're basically just absolute slaves to the government. And women are trying to take over government. Well, at least feminist women are trying to take over government so that they can have control over the whole entire country. They're trying to make us the next Sweden. And as I just said, we saw what happened in Sweden. World's first feminist government creates the rape capital of the world and the fastest growing welfare state in the globe per capita. Like, talk about irony.
We already have a Sweden. It's called Victoria. I mean, no bullshit. You go down to Victoria and they're all full of white guilt. You got these, well, I wouldn't call them men. I'll just call them human beings that were born with a penis. And they're just these most effeminate soy boys. They're obedient. I mean, you might as well just, I don't know, wear a dog lead and be told where to go by your dominant female master. And women down there, you hear the way how they talk to their men and they speak down at their men like their men must obey. And I'm just listening. Anywhere you go in Melbourne in a public setting and you're hearing the way how the women are just talking down at the men, treating them like they're shit, that's always, fucking grabs the wallet or buy me a drink or anything. And you just see this shit and you just think, what the fuck? And obviously, I'm a foreigner to Victoria, but I get filthy looks because I don't tolerate that shit. And I can say, what the fuck? How the fuck are you letting you go out and earn your money and she's dolled up like a fucking supermodel and you're letting her, control your cash? Fuck that. And then I get called misogynist and a pig, and I get told that I should be castrated and I should be thrown in jail because of my hate speech. I just think, fuck off. I mean, who the fuck runs that state down there?
Yeah, exactly right. Exactly right. It's just nuts and dumb.
But it's an entire town run by RMIT and fucking La Trobe. I mean, those two universities, they're all full of professional students, and they're either Green voters or Labor voters, and they're all social justice. And it's the only part in Australia that produces pornography. I mean, you get them producing pornography in the streets. I mean, I think there was a company or a porno company. I won't give the name out because it'll be free advertising to them. But they produced a porno on the platform Geelong Station.
My God.
And there it is. And these are the type of people who would call MGTOWs, and I'm sure we got MGTOWs in the chat right now who probably watch pornography to relieve themselves because it's just, well, it's either that or go and date a woman and end up getting all my hard work fleeced off me. But those very people starring in the pornos would be the type of feminists who would call men pigs and misogynists because they watch porn. So the very customer base that's providing them with the money. So
they're objectifying women, right?
Yeah, and they're objectifying women. I mean, you see it in Melbourne where there's even video footage of two lesbians having a lick out on a Melbourne train. This is the culture capital of Australia. in Melbourne. It is just, it's like a big European socialist dump. And this is the bullshit that happens in Melbourne. And men down there have no right to be men. And if you are a man, you get a fucking knock at the door. It's bullshit. It's a shithole.
So, guys, I am actually going to drop in the link here. The link to, I obviously can't show it on the screen. I'm going to drop the link to the live league video, where it actually has that video of the lesbians on the train. Clicking on continue. Yep, here we go.
You're not going to get the channel mute, are you?
I'm going to drop the link. Guys, go check out that link that I just dropped in the live chat. I just did a quick search of lesbians on train Melbourne. You guys can search that yourself and find it quite easily. And it was right there. And I just looked at it. I was like, wow, this is just insane.
But Sydney, getting back to the whole women in the Defence Force and everything, and look, I didn't do anything when I was in the Defence Force. I'm glad I didn't, because the men who I knew that have been over and done stuff over there, and what it's done to them, but also the bullshit honour they're given it's a load of shit to drum up support with the public. But then you meet people from around the world who are harmless, and you meet people from all different walks of life who just want to get on with their lives and just live and let live. And I mean, why are we being told to hate people overseas, but then we're told, well, people of that nationality who live here
and that exact same culture and belief set.
Yes, but then, and you have other people who are of that ethnic background, but not of that religious background. So, I mean, how many people would hate someone who is Arabian looking, but not realize that, oh, hang on, this person's actually a Christian or Zoroastrian, or maybe even Jewish and they're Arabian. I mean, or even many people don't realize that Afghanistan was actually a Buddhist nation. And when the Taliban went into Afghanistan, they blew up the Buddha statues.
Not surprising.
How blind we're being told shit. We're basically mushrooms in this country. We're kept in the dark and fed shit by our very government. And it's obviously people. There are people who come to Australia from around the world. And I mean, I'm not anti-immigration. I'm anti this open floodgate of the immigration. I'm anti how they're just shoving people in here. I mean, I want the good people, the right people who want to make this place the place they love, and they want to contribute. But you meet those genuine immigrants in Australia, and if they're from those other places that our government's saying we've got to send soldiers over here to decimate them, and they're just they say, fuck. You know, why are they over there for? Why are they doing this shit? You know, they're causing problems that don't even exist, and they're making us hated.
Like feminists, right?
Exactly, feminists who want this war because they want to have this belief that, oh, well, our government's keeping our kids safe from the terrorists. That's why the government wants to monitor all the internet, because, oh, we want to make sure that we're keeping your children safe from pedophiles, and we want to make sure that we can watch terrorists. And
so I mean, everything's all about where they're keeping my kids safe, not our kids.
Yep. I mean, but you meet people from around the world, and you just wonder, why is it our government is so two-faced
and cocked?
Yes. And feminists are very two-faced as well, because they're playing the same game.
You know what? I believe I actually have the answer to that. I believe I have the answer to that. I'm going to quickly find my video. Wow, I've got a lot of videos. Damn, I've done a lot of videos. Holy shit. Whoa. Okay. Just so you know, I do them every day, you know, and you don't realize how many you've actually done. So I'm actually going to bring this up and share the link for anyone that wants to go check it out. Let me just share this screen. That's a very flattering, very flattering pose here, of course, but that's fine. Application window, that's the one. So I'm sharing this with everyone right now. So basically, uni, aka feminist indoctrination centers. I said universities have become cancerous indoctrination centers for radical feminism and extreme leftism. Combine that with a heavily majority female student base, and you have a recipe for societal disaster. An independent man also did a video on this, and there's also a video that I linked about the identity politics cancer happening in unis. And then I also put a link to some of the feminist ideologues coming fresh out of a gender studies degree and trying to shut down conservatism, free speech, and then pushing a totalitarian Marxist agenda. Now, the reason why I'm so adamant, right? And I'm going to drop this in the chat for you guys as well, for those of you who are watching. I appreciate all you men for jumping in today and being with us. Hang on. Here we go. Got the chat box here, guys. Dropping this link here for you now. And Sishu, feel free to drop that video that you were telling me about Marxist re-education in the comments, and I may even do a video on that also. But I've dropped that link in the video for you guys to check out on uni, aka Feminist Indoctrination Centers, by me, your boy Sydney MGTOW. So I'm gonna hit stop on that now. Stop screen share, stop presenting. Go back to our chat here. Okay, cool. So think about it, right? Who are the people that have the broadest reach, right? You've got politicians, you have public relations, you've got human resources, you've got teachers, you have politicians, you've got lobby groups, you've got policy planners. Basically, every single person in government basically has to have a university degree. Am I right?
You're very right, because all these politicians, when it comes to election, argue, "Oh, I was a lawyer. Oh, I was an accountant." But you look at all the lawyers that come to politics; they're only in politics. Why? Because they're failed lawyers. They couldn't make a real buck in the legal fraternity, or they're failed bankers, or they are all right to do bankers, but they realise in politics they could help their mates out.
And they can bullshit without being held accountable for rules, unlike in banking where you can't get away with it.
Yep, and then if their career ends up going to shit, they can bounce back to the banks, or whenever there's an infrastructure project. How much infrastructure is being built in Sydney right now as we speak, and what's financing that infrastructure? Not money printed out of a mint owned by the government and then pegged to, well, we're going to get this much GDP if we print this amount of cash. No, the banks are loaning that money to the government to build all that infrastructure. So the bankers, who probably used to work for many of our politicians, rubbing their hands with all the interest being paid by the taxpayer on that loan.
Hand rubbing.
Exactly, and the same idiot Aussies keep queuing up to every fucking election, voting for the same fucking parties because they have this bullshit belief that, well, what are the minor parties going to do anyway? If you have a balance of power, that's a start. And you look
one nation is the only choice for me. Second only to the second choice being Cory Bernardi and the Conservatives, but for me, the Liberal Party, the Greens and Labor, they're just far too left-wing. They're far too indoctrinated. They're far too feminist-centric, and they need to go.
Well, Bob Catt is also another good pick. He's a man who he's a real man. And the funny part about Bob Catt, his electorate is an agriculture electorate and a tourism electorate, and he is a big supporter of manufacturing. He supports manufacturing even though there's no votes in it for him, because he's not a manufacturing electorate. But why he cares not just about his electorate, but he also cares about the good of Australia too.
Yeah, absolutely.
And when the whole live cattle export shit fight happened, when the ABC did their documentary on it.
Don't get me started on the ABC.
ABC stands for absolute biased crap, and they shut down the live export industry. Now, okay, there's some faults with the live export industry, not denying that, but Bob Catt had a solution, but they wouldn't listen to him because, oh, he wears a hat and he hasn't got a law degree. Don't listen to him. He's a nutter from the bush. Now, regional people in the regions are treated with contempt. And the only people who get to have a say when it comes to government are people in the city. And how many of our politicians are all from city electorates? They're all from state capital city electorates. How many of them are from the bush? The only time the bush ever gets a say is when the Liberal Party are in power because, well, they rely on the bush vote, the Nationals, but even they're being controlled by the heavyweights of the Liberal Party. So they might say something, but they don't really get as much as what they should. But they're both full of shit. Liberal, LIBOR, they're both fucking full of shit. Yep. They're both liars. And I refuse to vote for anyone who's an ex-lawyer, an ex-banker, an ex-unionist, an ex-public servant. How many of them have had a real fucking job? None of them. And the law degree, I mean, and if you ever go to Sydney, if you're from around the world and you're ever in Sydney, you will see it's just full of bankers and lawyers and suits and ties and accountants, and they're all just paper pushers, and they've never done a real fucking job. They just live in luxury. That's all they do. And these are the people that are telling us how to think. And you look at all the ministers on the front bench in our government that are given these positions like industry. I mean, our industry minister has never fucking turned a screwdriver in his life, but oh, he's a smart man because he has a fucking degree apparently. And our fucking resources minister, he hasn't fucking dug a hole in a coal mine in his life. Oh, but he's got a fucking degree and he's a smart man. I mean, bullshit.
So have you actually seen the privilege video that's been going around?
No, I haven't had time because I'm out there working my ass off, paying for all these single mums to have fucking money every fortnight in their accounts.
Well, I'm going to actually do a separate video on this, but I'm going to give you a special treat. So while I've got you on here, I'm actually going to share this with you. I'm going to give you video 1, then video 2. And I'm actually going to do a full dedicated video on this another day, but not tonight. But I just want to share these with you. This is just unbelievable, right? By the way, can you hear that okay?
No, can't hear it from your end. I'll have to switch on the speaker of my YouTube.
Hang on, let me just turn up my volume here. I'll see if it helps. Bear with me. How about now?
That's better.
Okay, so I'm gonna actually go to the start. I'm gonna show everyone in the stream this. All right, everyone, listen up. This was basically put on the ABC Me Facebook page. And for those of you who don't know what ABC Me is, they are basically the target audience is sort of, well, they say 8 to like 10, 12, but it's more like about sort of 6 upwards. And this is the kind of crap that they are being shown. This is taxpayer money funding these femtards doing these videos.
Here are 2 people trying to cross this stream. It's a raging rapids called the River of Dreams. Okay, so how did they get across? Good question. Let's start with Ross. Ross is a male and he's straight and wealthy. He's in his mid-40s and he's rather healthy. He's white and was born in a peaceful nation, so Ross gets to use teleportation. Whoa, that was super easy. Yup. Now let's take a look at Stevie. Stevie is a refugee. Born in a country that she had to flee. She doesn't speak English and she's not well off, so Stevie has to swim, and now she's got a cough. But wait, I mean, that's not fair. How come Ross got a free ride there? Privilege. He was born with advantage. Unearned gifts that his life was granted. He might not even think about his inbuilt perks, but that's just the way that privilege works.
Right, unbelievable, right?
Well, yeah, considering obviously one of those women has probably benefited from her parents living in a country where it was built by men, British men, and you know, she's probably born and raised here, but she classes herself as 100% Asian. But if she went to Asia, they would say to her, "You're not Asian, you don't act Asian, you just look Asian." And that other chick, well, she looks like some art student especially with that nose ring.
A student that somehow swung a job at the ABC because they were doing a diversity hire.
Well, it's not hard to get a job at the ABC. All you need to do is when Monday night comes along, you just get out of your the lecture at UTS over the road to Harris Street there in Aldermo, where you're having a sleep in the lecture hall. Let your iPhone wake you up, that iPhone built by slavery. Walk across Harris Street in the ABC studios there at Aldermo. Go to Q&A. Be the loudest heckler at any conservative on that panel. And someone might tap you on the shoulder and ask you, oh, would you like to have a job at Play School brainwashing children of the future?
Yeah, pretty much. Now, as you can well imagine, there was quite a backlash to that video. But instead of actually indulging a little bit of self-reflection, and Gary Awesome did a fantastic 3-part series. If you've ever seen Gary Awesome, if you haven't, to all my viewers, guys watching, go check him out. GARY_ORSUM. Fantastic guy, really funny. He's got over 60,000 subscribers. I'd love more subscribers. And if you're only watching this for the first time, please hit that subscribe button and the bell. But for now, definitely go check out the 3-part series on this. But I'm going to show you the second video. So they've actually instead of actually self-reflecting and saying, well, maybe we're being complete Charlie Uniform November Tangos, they've doubled down and they've basically had a go at the men that retorted against their bullshit narrative that all white men got a free ride and got given everything given to them by the government and the patriarchy, and that women and minorities have to actually work hard. And then say girls change the world. Well, it's funny, isn't it? Because if girls change the world, then if there's such a patriarchy, then how can girls change the world? I mean, it's just a bit of a really disconnected message. But, let's skip to the next video.
What's this? It's the internet. What's that? It's a big network and open forum that allows the expression of opinions where people have discussion with their different points of view. Whoa, that sounds pretty happy. Well, no, it's actually pretty crappy. Here are two people trying to live their life. They both log in and go online.
Now, notice how the girl's already got the smile and the guy's already got a frown. I'll continue.
They have many options for how to spend their time, but they do it differently. Can you show me through, Ryan? Sure. This is Carol, and she's in her 30s, and she goes to a job which is pretty busy. Maybe she'll share a video of a dog or download recipes from a food blog. Most importantly, she has empathy and doesn't feel like she has to be mean. Whoa! She sounds content. Is everyone...
Sydney, please pause it for a second.
No, me, Kevin. He used to be...
What was that?
Please pause it for a second before I lose my train of thought. You notice how the tone that they're rapping in is that very patronising tone that normally a daycare worker would speak to a child in.
Yes.
Have a real hard listen at that tone of voice and with how they're rapping a patronising speak as they are talking to a child, a bit like our former Prime Minister Gillard used to speak to the Australian people like we were children. It's
good old fem speak.
Continue.
All right, let's go.
No, meet Kevin. He used to be nice, but then he became disenfranchised. His life hasn't turned out as he planned, so he spends all his time posting on 4chan. He frequently visits alt-right memes and thinks feminism is what ruined his dreams.
Now, I love this, right? If we actually skip back there for a second, it says, he used to be nice until he became disenfranchised. So basically when he stopped being a soy boy and a blue pill little cuck boy that just panders to all the feminist nonsense, then he became not nice, right? Life hasn't turned out as he planned, so he spends all his time posting on 4chan. So what about guys that spend all their time in family courts trying to get their kids back? I mean, that's obviously also life not turning out as they planned and being disenfranchised, right? And then he frequently visits alt-right memes. So I don't know if these feminists have actually really done any thought outside of trying to come up with something semi-witty, but you can't actually visit an alt-right meme. You can visit a page that has alt-right memes, you can share them, but you can't actually visit an alt-right meme. That's like me saying, oh, I'm going to get on a plane and visit an alt-right meme. It just doesn't work like that, ladies. If I can call you that, you kind of look like a bit of a rhinoceros with your horn chopped off.
But I wonder if these two women crawl out from the ABC studios when they finish their 4-hour shift, and they head on down to, I don't know, Circular Quay, that was built by male convict labour, men who had a ball and chain wrapped around their fucking foot.
Correct.
To build the roads, build that fucking, well, the Harbour Bridge was built after Federation, but they probably admire the beautiful Harbour Bridge and call it beautiful and boast all their Instagram and Facebook.
Talk about how they did their Harbour Bridge climb.
Yeah, done the Harbour Bridge climb and go, look how beautiful this is. Well, it was only possible they could climb that Harbour Bridge thanks to the men who fucking built that, died and got lead poisoning from building that fucking rusted out shit heap.
And died when they hit the water or hit the other parts of the bridge or whatever.
Yes, exactly.
Privilege.
Yeah, all that opera houses, that was designed by a man, but I reckon they love going to the opera and saying how beautiful the opera house is. Oh, but it was designed by a man and built by men. Are they going to admire it and worship it now or not? So,
Snapchat photos at Opera Bar as well.
Yep, and I'll probably catch the train to Circular Quay Station. Oh, and that Cahill Expressway where Circular Quay Station is.
You mean all those things that were built by men, right, Godbotherer?
Yep.
All right, cool. Well, you know what? I think I'm going to get on with this video. Otherwise, we're going to talk all night because I think you and I have a lot to chat about over and above what we've already spoken about tonight. But I'll unpause now.
Wow, this sounds fantastic.
Are you being serious?
No, I'm being sarcastic. The internet's great for personal use, but for some sad people that includes abuse. See, Carol can visit an internet page without the need to directly engage. Kevin sees a kids show from 5 months back and he feels like he's being personally attacked. Carol and Kevin both saw the same clip. Carol pressed like, then ate some chips.
Of course she ate chips. She's a fat feminist.
Kevin tags mates in the Facebook comments with his anti-white, anti-male, leftist content.
Yes, it is anti-white, anti-male leftist content. And, you know, she seems like she's kind of upset that someone actually disagreed with that sentiment.
Leftist content. He then posted his own reaction video and directed alt-right trolls to attack a kids show.
I mean, it was literally a Facebook page for a kids show.
I mean, why on earth are grown men wasting their time? See, Carol doesn't need to post abuse because she puts her time to good use.
So just quickly, Godbotherer, it says Carol doesn't need to post abuse because she puts her time to good use, but she's online sharing photos of dogs and downloading recipes from a food blog. And if I recall from about, I don't know, maybe 5 seconds back, they're at the ABC complaining and whinging about the fact that someone had an objection to the previous video being posted on a damn kids show.
See, Carol doesn't need to post abuse because she puts her time to good use. But Kevin hates his job and women won't date him because he likes to quote Rick and Morty verbatim.
So Kevin hates his job and women won't date him because he likes to quote Rick and Morty verbatim. So basically what they're saying is, well, you hate your job and women don't want you either, and you're basically a loser. So they're using shaming language. And of course, you see in the River of Fire there, it's got Facebook, YouTube, Reddit, Twitter, Anonymous. But the funny thing is, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter are all basically completely feminist run. So I don't know why they think that that's part of the River of Fire when they're the ones that are receiving the advantage from it.
But instead of looking at himself, Kevin likes to blame the world. So
that's rich coming from a couple of feminists saying that instead of looking at himself, Kevin likes to blame the world. Well, that sounds remarkably something like leftists and feminists would do, don't you think, Godbotherer?
Maybe Kevin hates the world because he goes to that job that he busts his ass at just to watch his wife, was it Carol, I think, take his money and go to the nearest shopping mall, sit back in a cafe, give the iPhone that he's paid for, that his wife has, to the children because she's too much of a lazy mother to be a proper mother to raise the child. She'd just rather have the iPhone raise the child, while she sips away coffee and has a croissant and a cake or whatever, and talks to her girlfriends about how much that her man, Kevin, is probably a bastard and how he leaves the toilet seat up and bitch, 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 and oh, I want this car. He won't buy a new SUV. I mean, I keep telling him that, you know, if we go to the dealership and the finance company fucking gives us this rate, which will rip us off in the end, and we'll pay fucking 8 times more than what the car's actually worth. But I really want it because I really want to look good in front of all you girls. And yeah, that's probably why he's got the shits with life, because the money he earns is being spent in the fucking shopping malls, and he's being hated by the very woman he claimed to love and to treasure and to have until death do you part, only to have her bitch all the time about him on the very with the very money that he earns.
Oh, and then have her leave tips, leave a tip from his money in the tip jar for the cute barista that's never going to sleep with her.
Yes, exactly right. But oh, that barista works out and he likes to smile at me, and oh yeah, it smells like he just worked out of the gym. Oh, let me just fan myself with my open hand, or with the open palm of my hand. Oh, yeah.
Exactly. Shit. Unbelievable. Hang on, I'll finish this one. I've got 15 seconds to go. 17 seconds. Let's see if we can make it through this without vomiting.
Where does a person like Kevin go? The comments section on a kid's video. Word.
Look at that bullshit.
Word.
All right, and they call that comedy.
Well, it's comedy to the ABC, because, well, anything that hates men and conservatives is comedy. But if you can't stand how women bitch, and if you think that the socialists are a bunch of brain dead fucking greedy bastards, you're just a misogynist neocon. No, you're far right as well. Everyone who's not a leftist is an evil far right winger.
Wow. And I've got Aussie Drama in the chat said, I paid the first year child support. Mother lived 900 meters away, never let me see the child at all until court and after her first birthday. What a piece of shit mother.
Yep, but they argue, oh, well, the child needs to be, it's better to have the child being raised by its mother. Why? Because you look at all these mothers that are single mothers, and people say, oh, well, what about widows? Well, we're not talking about widows. This is what shits me. Every time I shitbag single mums, and people say, oh, well, I know someone who's a widow and she's working. Why? It's all right. Look, widows, they get a free pass. All right, they can't help the fact that they're a widow, unless, of course, they poison dinner. But I mean, if a husband died for bad circumstance, look, a woman can't help that. We're not talking about widows. We're talking about these professional sluts, these professional breeders who squirt out a kid and keep getting more free money, or women who never really loved their husband in the first place, but just married him for the meal ticket and used the children to milk more money out of him. They're the ones that we have the shits with. We can't stand those women. And to constantly see them just treat men like shit and get away with it and be given the rights to children, and you have so many children that are neglected by single mothers, but the single mothers keep getting a free pass from our legal system, and they're given the children. Meanwhile, all a man has to do is just smack his child in the bum because, well, the child decided to get in the car. Act like its mother, or climb into the car and that was parked and roll it down the street, get in there, you find the car. It's easy for a child to get a car now, because all you need to do is just get the keyless entry card or get the wallet and put it near the car. It opens, unlocks, and what's his handbrake? It's easy for a child to roll a car down the street now.
At least it's easy to open the car with the touchless entry.
Oh no, I hate that, because what if your finger's all covered in chicken grease?
Oh no, I mean, my mate's actually got a Mark 7 Golf R, and I don't know what it's like for other cars, but I know it doesn't matter. It's not like a fingerprint sensor, so it doesn't actually need to be a specific like fingerprint. It's just as long anything comes in contact with it that's sort of like conductive, it just picks it up.
Oh, okay. Because if I've got barbecue pork ribs on my hand, there's no way I'm touching the paint.
Yeah, well, true that. Hang on, we got so Cryptimus Prime says, "Preach, it's the truth. I was raised by a single mother. I had 5 stepdads. Holy shit! Took me 28 years to realize something was wrong with me." Wow.
Yeah, and there are so many kids out there who were raised by 5 or 6 stepdads, and they're confused. I mean,
That's right.
and I mean, I can go down to a nightclub and
He's
see
all
all of
in
the.
the guide.
I can go to a nightclub on a Saturday or Friday or Saturday night, and the amount of women who just approach me straight up, and all they want to do is have a good time, and they want to come back to my place.
Yeah,
And,
not their place.
yeah, not their place because my mum is looking after my son. So yeah, let's go back to yours. And well, I have standards, so automatically it's a no. But it's always whenever that they finally are able to let their hair down because their kid is being babysat by their parents, and they come latching on to another man, and that's sort of well. Years ago, they would have been called a slut, and the child would have been taken off them. But how can a child be expected to function with only the direction of an emotional, hysterical, batshit crazy female? They need a stable man, a father, to raise them. But no, when you have all these stepdaddies coming into your life, you have no stable guidance. And this is why so many children who are raised by single mother households end up in the prison population because they've had no man, no father to grab them, kick them up the backside and say, oi. But even if you have a father, if your father kicks you up the backside and your mother decides to cry wolf and accuse your father of being an abusive parent, oh, well, off to child service. Oh, no, the father will either be shown in court and jail, all that type of bullshit, or you'll be taken off both the family because there'd probably be an argument happening between the father and the mother, and then they say, we just better we take your child off to child services. And, well, how many children in the foster care system have been incested, molested, abused, tortured, used as witchcraft blood sacrifices? I mean, it happened, and it all came out in our Royal Commission that we had on child abuse. Oh, no, but we're only going to blame the church. It's all the church's fault because the church took children away from single mothers in the 1930s, 40s, and 50s and put them in orphanages for childless, biologically childless couples to raise them as their own children who they could love and care and nurture for. Oh, no, evil churches did that. We'd better let the secular world and the non-church, the witchcraft world, the feminist lesbian world and all that type of shit raise our children for us via the big Tyrone. Isn't that right there, Sydney? Tyrone.
Tyrone likes to go in elbow deep.
Yeah.
And it's interesting, right? Because I've got a couple of guys in here that have grown up with no mum, grown up with no dad, whether it's by way of my father being separated from the mother, whether it's through they grew up in a foster home because the mother wasn't a fit parent, or because the mother kept the father away, or because the father has passed away, whatever the case may be. I've got guys in here saying, single mums destroy their children. And these guys are speaking from experience, right? These guys aren't just, didn't grow up with a mum and a dad. They're not turning around and going, oh, fuck you, single mums, you wreck your kids. No, these kids actually know what it's like to grow up without the dad. These kids know what it's like to grow up with a single mother, right? These guys are grown men now, and they've been through hell not having a father in their lives. They know the truth, right? You can talk about political correctness and you can't say that about women, but you know what? If you're a 30, 40-year-old man and you grew up without your dad and you know it was your mum's fault, you're going to say, fuck you, single mother, because I know what you did to me. You deprived me of my father in my childhood. And no amount of political correctness can take away that life experience of that man that had to grow up without the father as a result of the mother, or as a result of the father passing away, or, that experience of having to go through all of those stepdads and whatnot. Right? You can't take that away. And I think what we're seeing now is a generation of kids that have grown up without their father that are saying, no, I don't want this for my future kids. I don't want this for the next generation. And I will vote to have the people in power that are promising, that I trust, not that just that promise and that I trust, to put the families back together, to keep fathers in homes, to prevent mothers from making lies into a source of income, right? I think it's only when a political party comes along that puts these things out there, men are going to vote with their feet. And a lot of girls that grew up without a dad, or that grew up with a narcissistic single mother, and that realized what was going on, that it didn't become like their mother, are going to start voting with their feet and leaving the Liberal Party, the Labour Party, and the Greens.
With Sydney, men are also attracted to the military. Why? Because, well, if you want to be a man, you want to go out there and kill a terrorist, or you want to go and kill someone because they're endangering your country, come on board, we'll teach you how to be a man. So how many men who don't have fathers believe the bullshit that the government's peddling them, because they probably voted Labor or their mum's probably voted Labor all her life, because Labor keep giving single mums more of our taxpayer money in single mum welfare recipient handouts just so they can sit at home, watch Sunrise or the Today Show, smoke bongs, and fucking wait for the cash cow to fucking come knocking at the door. I mean, and how many of these men who have no future would just wait till they're 18, rock up, go and get themselves recruited into the Defence Force, and then be groomed by the military when they're doing their training how to be a man, but not be a man the way how the men in Civilian Street actually get up every morning, go and work with other men, get along, go and catch up with their friends, look out for their mates. No, they're told that, well, all your mates are in the military, and a real men wear a uniform, and here's a medal for war, and here's another medal for serving your country, also known as killing someone else who's in their country. But how many of these young men are groomed by the military? And there are other countries. I'm not going to. There are a lot of people who come from the Blame America First group who always blame America for it, but yeah, they're not. I mean, there are other countries that do this too, where they rely on young men from communities where there's not much apart from joining the military. So they target them, bring them in. They have no father to guide them and say, hang on a second, why do you want to go and risk your life for a bunch of politicians who don't give a fuck about you, and a bunch of corporations financing those politicians who don't give a fuck about you? No, there's none of that. This is why they want the women to be promoted, and that's the thing. They don't want equality in the sewers. They don't want equality in the garbage chip. They don't want equality in the coal mine. They want equality in the boardroom, same as the women in the military. They don't want equality anywhere else apart from with officer rank slides on, and they want to be saluted all the time. So you have the women as the officers, and you have the men doing all the dirty work. And this is the thing. When
they
the
don't
men
want 50-50 representation in nursing or any other female-dominated field.
No, not at all. They want to be fucking above men. They want to be supreme. They want to have the cream. They want to be in charge. And whenever a woman is in charge of anything, it's fucking bad news. And you look at just the bullshit that we've been fed. But how many of these young men have been brainwashed by Labor Party lies? And then they just keep voting Labor. And this is the problem we have in Australia, where our politicians scare the Aussies into not voting for minor parties because, they're nutters and you can't get any legislation through. What? Can't get any bad legislation through? And this is why they want to change the laws or change the voting structure of the Senate, because they don't want a vibrant Senate where there are other minor parties, like Pauline Hanson, who are going to critique shitty legislation and say, no, you need to amend that because that's not right. Oh no, apparently that's a chokehold on the government. That's stifling legislation. No, it's actually critiquing your shit. But they don't want that. They want the Senate to be a rubber stamp, and they even want to abolish it like they did in Queensland. In the Suicide Squad of 1922, they abolished the Queensland Upper House. And now you look at Queensland. It's a one-seat dictatorship there, and anything goes. And that's what they want. They don't want to be debated. Either mainstream parties. They don't want someone using parliamentary privilege to tell them they're wrong, to critique their bullshit, to out them with their lies. They want to just steamroll everything through. They don't give a fuck about you. They only give a fuck about the taxes you pay, and they only give a fuck about the votes you fucking put in the ballot box. They do not give a fuck about you. And when they promise you, we're going to fucking promise you more police and more safe this and safety that, bullshit. It's a fucking big fucking pork barrel, and if you fucking are too dumb to fucking see through that, you should not be voting. You should just go and smoke bongs and surf, or smoke bongs and fucking, I don't know, watch the football.
Anything but vote.
Yeah, go to the football and fucking watch that mind-numbing pigskin chasing contest of a bunch of fucking knuckle draggers just fucking grunt over a few painted lines on the grass. I mean, go and watch that bullshit. Then and don't go and vote. Then don't even enroll to vote. It's just I mean, I like compulsory voting, but there's a reason why we have it. It's so that we have. If we didn't have it in this country, you would only have 2 fucking parties running the joint. But we have compulsory voting, and yeah, people say, "Oh fuck, I'm just going to draw a dick on this ballot paper and shove it in the box." And other people say, "All right, well, they're an arsehole, they're an arsehole, I like them, okay." And that's what. And in this compulsory voting country, governments don't win elections. Oh no, oppositions don't win elections. Governments lose elections. So yeah, that's why you've got to be more accountable. And people will vote you out if you're fucked. So yeah, oppositions don't win elections. Governments lose elections.
By the way, I want to share with you a comment that I got in one of my videos yesterday on the poor me mentality. Check this out. This chick called sharing with everyone. Here we go. This chick called Slammy Jams. And guys, go feel free to have your say if you want to. And please be respectful, right? Because we don't want to prove her right. But she said, MGTOW is a loser club full of pathetic men. And I said, Slammy Jams, 2 things. Tell me one single good thing that a man can get from marriage that they can't get for free with less risk without marriage. B, in your view, is a woman a pathetic loser for choosing to stop focusing on chasing relationships and focusing on her personal growth and progression? Or is that empowerment and personal choice that she's entitled to? I believe it's an empowering personal choice, just FYI. She said, Sydney MGTOW, I don't know. I'm not a man, so I couldn't tell you. Lol. Now, I do, and guys, I don't like the word empowering very much when talking about all of this, but what I'm going to say is that it's no less empowering for a woman to do that than it is for a man, right? I think it's good for both men and women to focus on themselves, right? But there's also consequence to those choices. I'm actually going to reply to this chick right now. So she said, Sydney MGTOW, don't know, I'm not a man, so I couldn't tell you. Well, if you're not a man, then how could you possibly understand why men are going their own way? Now, look, some guys choose to just block these feminists and not engage, but I actually like, killing them with facts and proving to them that I'm not just going to, because if I delete the comment, if I go and block them, if I go and report them, then I'm no better than them, right? And I know that they're going to turn around and go, oh, well, you're just a coward because you just blocked me or you did this or whatever, and they're going to send the reporting crew. But if I have these things up with well thought out, well articulated responses, then they can't really actually attack anymore because I've disarmed them, right? I've taken away, because they think I'm going to respond back and attack them, and they go, oh, see, there we are. There's the misogynist in you right there. I knew it. I knew that you're a misogynist. It's like, well, I'm not actually, and I really actually do like women that aren't complete cunts, and so therefore, I guess what I'm saying is that I like women who aren't feminists. But that doesn't mean that I'm not cautious of them, because I'm very much aware of the inherent nature. And for anyone that is listening, I don't know if you've seen it as well, Godbotherer. The ebook by Stand Up Men is absolutely fantastic. One of the guys watching at the moment just bought it today. And yeah, he's basically went through hell and back with his ex-wife. So a lot of what he went through is going to be explained by that ebook once he reads it. It's about 45 pages of pure gold. It's unbelievable. And all of the different points refer back to other points, and you sort of see how it all links and meshes together. The production quality, it's plain, but mate, the words are just absolutely golden. So if anyone does want a copy of that, check it out in the description of most of my videos, and you can email me and request a copy, and we'll send you through a payment request. Yeah,
we're just saying with this slammy jams, and there'll be nutcases who would get on there and just troll with very nasty speech, whether it be these death threats and all that. I wish people would not do that. I mean, unless you really have a nasty gripe about somebody with the way how they are to you, then there's really no point in being extremely nasty. I mean, there's critiquing somebody, there's arguing a point forensically, but if somebody's an asshole to me in the comment section, I might reply with an asshole response back, but it's a bit like you have those hippies that are all about peace and love, but then they send through death threats, and then you're like, hang on, but you're all about peace and love, and then you're just threatening. It's sort of they're getting. I mean, there's no point in being a doormat and just always being this, be the bigger man and don't stoop to their level, all that bullshit. I mean, there's arguing a point back, but then there's being an absolute fucking moron about it, isn't there?
Yeah, and you know, and those are the people that these women are looking for, because they actually want to find someone who's going to attack them, because then they can screenshot it and that's proof, and then they share it in their feminist groups and they look, oh, look at these misogynistic MGTOWs. But you know, a man going his own way is not a misogynist. He's a man going his own way. He's making a choice to opt out.
Sydney, for all you know, this Slammy Jams, she doesn't look like what she does in her profile pic. She might have stolen that from some Instagram model's Instagram account, and she's posted that there, and then she's posted this on your YouTube account, and hoping you would go, oh, you're hot and glamorous. Actually, I'm only doing this just for a load of bullshit. Do you want to meet up for coffee? I mean,
yeah, exactly. Like, I'm no soy boy.
Yeah, she could be some disgusting, gross, fucking amateur, fat, chubby chick porn star for all you know. I mean, just masquerading as some hottie online. I mean, it's not like it hasn't happened before.
Here we go. So I said, well, if you're not a man, then how could you possibly understand why men are going their own way? AKA MGTOW. I'll answer the questions A and B for you. A, there are 0 benefits to men to get married and far too many downsides to mention, so it's only common sense and logic to rationally opt out of marriage and relationships. And B, I'm sure you don't consider women who choose to focus on their personal growth and progression to be pathetic losers. Going your own way as a man is doing exactly that.
But Sydney, what she fails to even research is that many of us men who are MGTOW and who become the way we are, we became MGTOW because we used to be the white knights who cared about women, who loved women, who would be there for them. How many women in our lives were we used to adore and treasure and nurture and hold our arms and protect them, all for what? And what do? They just spat in our faces with it. They just stabbed us in the chest or stabbed us right in the heart and just turfed a wonderful relationship, and many of them put us in the friend zone. But then they come rebounding when they're thrice divorced alcoholic hussies with a few fucking bastard children, or with a few unwanted children from ex-husbands who don't pay child support and have disappeared. And it takes some hurt like that for us to step back and look at our lives and think, what the fuck? Shit! Why did I waste my time? I mean, I look back at all the years I was a white knight and a caring, loving, nurturing man to all these women in my life that I'd never got any sexual reward from at all. And am I a happily married man with a white picket fence and the lovely children who are very sweet and caring, and the lovely wife? We walk on down and go down to the church together holding hands, and people look at us and say, oh, what a lovely, godly couple. No, not at all. Not at all. And how many people would be in the chat right now in the live chat can attest to that. Then I'm sure there'll be a lot of men there that'll be saying, "Yep, I was one of those. I was one of those. I was one of those."
And it's interesting, right? Because I guess when I first discovered MGTOW, and especially after I'd gone through what I went through with the guys that I thought were my friends when I was separating from my ex-wife, and they women would say, "Oh, who hurt you?" And I would get defensive. I'd be like, "Well, no, nobody hurt me." It's like, well, okay, actually, yeah, all of us have been hurt. And the fact that you're upset at me for having a different opinion means you've been hurt too. We're no different to each other. We're both human beings with different points of view. And I'd really like to discuss this rationally with you. And you've got to understand that no man that is, I guess, fairly balanced and, sees themselves as, a manly man or a masculine man or, an example would, before knowing what we know, openly avoid women, right? Because that's what we're biologically pre-programmed to do, to go after women, to spread our seed, to, become the dominant one, to, spread forth and multiply and have children and, create the next generation. That's what we're biologically and neurologically pre-programmed to do. But the framework in which we live is not conducive to us being happy in that environment. So we're fighting against our biology now.
Yeah, because you become a responsible husband. Now, coming at a Christian perspective, in the Bible, it states that a man is to lead the household, be responsible, and a woman is to, women in the church especially are to be silent. But, if you're a man and you're a husband, and your wife grabs a credit card, goes and blows it on a bunch of shoes that, one, you can't afford, two, she doesn't fucking need, and three, I had plans for that money to be spent on something a lot more responsible than some pointless shit. Well, you can now be reported to the police and charged for fiscal abuse.
Yeah.
Financial abuse, for telling your wife to not spend your fucking money that you go out and earn to pay for the roof over the fucking head, to pay for the fucking couch that she sits a fat ass on to watch the fucking TV that has all that fucking bullshit Ellen on that she can sit there and turn her brain into fucking feminist mush watching.
And Oprah and ABC Me and ABC.
Yep, exactly. And how many
Sunrise?
Sunrise.
The
Fuck. Oh, The Project. Don't get me started on a comedy show masquerading as a news report. But if you want to be, and there are many Christian preachers out there who say, don't fucking bitch about the way how women are and the laws or how the feminism and all that. Just be a man, stand up and be a man. Oh, that's easy. You stand up and be a man, and then the cops come knocking on the door and arrest you for being aggressive and showing signs of abuse and violence against women and financial abuse and all this bullshit. So if you stand up and be a man of God in your household and show your wife how to be responsible with the money you fucking earn, so she can be that fucking housewife and basically spend all her fucking day long in the shopping mall sipping away your money on coffee, bitching about you to the girls, you go to end up going to jail or probably have all your assets taken off you as a form of as compensation to her, not be allowed to see your children until they're 18 because you're showing signs of violent aggression because you took the fucking credit card away from her. I mean, all of this bullshit. And so what's the point? What is the point? And where is any of it for us? In
there's that cuckboy who will eat and the other femtard.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of that show at all.
Dick. But yeah, anyway, please continue. Sorry, I just had that up and I wanted to share it.
But there's no ability anymore to be a man.
Yeah, absolutely not. Crazy, just nuts.
And if you are a man, you're punished.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. But you know what? They will have to throw me in jail. They will have to hang me by my neck before I stop being a man, before I stop speaking the truth about what's going on, Godbrother. And, you know, for the guys who have been watching this channel for quite a while, they know that that's exactly how I work, what I'm all about, and who I am. You know, I'm not afraid to back away. I'm not afraid to, you know, get hassled, get doxxed, get attacked. I don't give a fuck because I'm not standing down. I won't.
Well, isn't that what they do in Victoria with Sam Newman on the AFL Footy show down there? He speaks his mind, and all those feminists in the media fucking tell him to resign and he should fucking apologise. And it's just like, fuck off. How many women have ever apologised for all the man-bashing bullshit that they sprout? How many women apologise for raising their sons in a single-mother household and teaching them how to be a fucking emotional nutcase and how to be a self-absorbed fucking narcissistic fucking piece of shit? I mean, how many women apologise to us men in society who go out, earn the money and pay the taxes just so they can sit on their fat lazy ass and keep breeding more fucking children and not using that money for the children anyway, but just shoving all that money in the fucking poker machines and the fucking pubs and spending it on drinks in nightclubs just so they can get another fucking penis to be a sperm donor to them? I mean, how many women are going to apologise to men like you and I for stealing our tax dollars? And you see, we pay into a welfare system hoping that money is going to be used for people who have had a shit time in life and they need a hand up, not a handout. We want a welfare system to look after those who are in need and they need help, genuine help, no problem. But these women should be apologising for milking it. I mean, the single parent pension was introduced by the fucking Labor government in the 1970s, and all it has done is just created deadbeats begetting deadbeats, and it's free money. Now, I'm all for widows and widowers receiving help in a time of shit. I'm not arguing against that. I'm arguing against someone who's fucking 14, 15, 16, 17 years of age. They get knocked up without a wedding ring on, or even someone who's an adult, they get knocked up without a wedding ring on, and all of a sudden that entitles them to pension because they're a single mum. How the fuck how are you entitled to taxpayer money? I shouldn't be calling it free money. It's actually taxpayer money. How are you entitled to taxpayer money just for being a mother without a legal husband in your life? How the fuck?
And look, the thing is, the reason why they're getting away with this, the reason why they're doing this is because there is zero accountability. There is zero incentive for them not to do this. There's zero incentive for them to not take money off the father. There's zero incentive for them to not take money off the state. There's zero incentive for them to not have kids out of wedlock, right? Because they're basically pandered to for every single one, right? Unbelievable. And like, I came across this the other day. I'm actually going to share this with you. I'm going to mention it on my last video after I came back from my trip over the weekend. Where is it? Here we go. All right, I'm going to share this screen with you guys. All right, here we go. Mystery grows as man who owed 500K in child support disappears on a paddleboard. That's right. I spoke about this morning. Actually, this part here was actually my my video snippet for my thumbnail. Constantine George Theoharis took off on his paddleboard into the Atlantic off Fort Lauderdale a week ago, police believe. Normally, this would not be remarkable, given Theoharis's ease and familiarity on the water, his family says. However, on that day, March 20th, the licensed diver was due in court to speak to charges of not paying more than $500,000 in child support, Fort Lauderdale police say. The mystery deepens because nothing has turned up since, not Theoharis, nor his body, nor his paddleboard, nor his fins, mask, or weight belt that a friend said are missing from his dive bag. But his wallet and passport were left behind in his home. When Theoharis, a commercial real estate agent, didn't show for his court date, a judge rescheduled his appearance for Tuesday, March 27th. But there's still no signs of Theoharis, and family members who have been searching for a week are increasingly concerned. He's very capable on the paddleboard, so it seems fishy to me, his younger brother Richard Theoharis told CBS4 as he fought back tears. He was under pressure. He owed $600,000 and didn't have it. He was afraid the judge would throw him in jail. If he's scared, we hope he'll contact us. Make a phone call. Just let somebody know you're safe so we can rest at night. Konstantin Theoharis, 52, has been divorced since 2008. His ex-wife has been fighting him for child support for their 2 teenage children for the last 5 years. So that's 120,000 US dollars a year. It does not cost that much to raise a child. He owes more than $549,000 according to court documents. A neighbor's surveillance video shows a figure on a blue paddleboard heading north from near Theoharis' home off North Atlantic Boulevard around 7:30 a.m. March 20th. Police and family believe it was Theoharis on that board. In fact, here we go.
For that live update. Now at noon, a South Florida family needs your help to find their missing loved one. The last time they heard from Konstantin Theoharis was last Tuesday.
Sorry about the low volume, guys. Turn it up if you need to.
In the ocean off Fort Lauderdale. Anyone with information on where he may be is asked to call police.
And here we go. Former NFL running back Orwin Smith says fathers are treated unfairly when it comes to child support issues. When he was released from the Green Bay Packers in 2014, he wasn't sure how he would continue paying the child support required for his then 3-year-old son. Now he's an advocate for fathers.
Being a child lives, and just be there for them mentally and financially. I think the system, puts a stigma on a lot of fathers that if they're not paying the mother to be in their child life, then they're not a good father. We all know fathers are more than just quote unquote ATM, and I think the system not only being biased but has also pushed mothers to make the father absent. It becomes a money game, right?
Incentivizes mothers.
Welfare of the child, and I think that's something that we definitely should change and look into. I know a lot of great fathers out there, and very involved, and just for the mere fact that they can pay the mother, then they're not good fathers. I always talk to people and a lot of fathers about this situation, and if a mother loses her job and she finds a way to budget, she finds a way to take care of the child, the father loses his job and potentially go to jail. Just that statement alone is where the problem lies. I do think fathers should be there financially for their children, but on top of that, I do think them being available is also just as important.
I actually really love that video. I haven't seen it before, but I just thought I'd throw that up there now, just randomly. And yeah, that was really cool. I thought totally nailed it. Absolutely.
Well, when women say, "Oh, well, I need to raise the children, that's why I need alimony," and one, you claim to be a strong and independent woman, and you don't need a man. Well, then go and earn your own money. And at least in our state in Australia, prostitution is completely legal. There's a job opportunity for single mums. I mean, you're good at sex, obviously. That's why you've got children. So why not get paid to have sex rather than expect the hardworking taxpayer to pay for your sex addiction? Go and make money out of your sex addiction. Then go and work in a brothel. It's working as a prostitute in an established brothel in the state of New South Wales, Queensland, in Victoria, in the Australian Capital Territory is legal. It is completely legal. There are no laws against it. There's a job opportunity. Go and be a strong and independent woman and earn your own money. We've got all of these people, or mostly men, being imported into this country, and you look at them from India and Afghanistan and African countries, and they're collecting all of the shopping trolleys around the car parks. Why? Oh, well, the argument is that no real Aussie wants to do that work, so we've got to get those people from overseas to do that work for us. Bullshit. There's jobs that those single mums can fucking do. They can push. They love shopping. They love spending their ex-husband's money, don't they? Why don't they fucking earn their own money, pushing those fucking used trolleys in the car park back to the shopping centre, back to the supermarket. No, we got to import men to do that for us.
Yep.
So the women can sit there on welfare and child support payments and sit their fat asses in front of a TV and watch Ellen brainwash them with more feminist fucking mush.
Yep, just leave the trolley leaning up against some other poor man's car and drive off.
Yeah, that's right. Because, well, how many women do that? I mean, if you drive a nice car which exudes MGTOW, and you and I, Sydney, we both drive cars that are high performance. And how many filthy looks do we get from women when we drive into a shopping mall car park and they see what we're driving? And because there's no baby seat in there and the car definitely would not have any children and definitely looks like there has never been a child in it, the filthy looks and the fact that the car exudes, I care more about a machine than a human, little human being. They give you the filthiest of fucking look and call you selfish, misogynistic. Why are you wasting your money on that? Like, because I like to spend my money on things that I enjoy, not on things for women to enjoy. And then they want a kid, or they want to push their pram, or they want their kid to piss on your car tires, or they want to sit their baby, because when they take their babies out of the child seat, the baby seat, they then want to sit their baby on your fucking rear spoiler.
Oh.
As they then drag the pram out of the back and then close the door, rather than get the pram out of the back first and have it ready, then get the child. But no, they want to sit their child on your rear spoiler because, well,
fortunately, I'm very unfortunate. I've got the Golf R hatchback. I mean, it's in a little bit of state of disrepair at the moment just because I haven't serviced it because I don't have the money. But you know, look, that's beside the point. My spoiler is actually right up on the roof. So unless they want to put the kid all the way up on the roof on this tiny little spoiler about that long, then they're shit out of luck with my car. Hope they burn their legs on the exhaust pipe.
No, with my spoiler, the faster I go, the more I grip.
Nice. Sishu says then the child falls off the rear spoiler and they blame you. By the way, a big shout out to Riff Magos and the Aussie Drama. Thank you, men, for the very kind donations. That money will go to a good cause. And to this day, yet I have not spent a single cent of donations that I've received. I'm saving it all for when we really need it. So I just want to let you guys know that, you know, I don't waste your money. It's, you know, and I really appreciate everything you give. And for those of you who do, you know, are kind enough to donate. But, you know, guys, I think it's getting about that time. You know, I'm getting pretty hungry, and I'm sure Godbrother has got to get to bed soon. I know he does the commute down to Sydney each day. It's about 8:40 p.m. Sydney time here. So I'm gonna wrap this up in a moment. But I just wanted to say to everyone in the chat, thank you so much for all of your participation. Thank you so much for being with me with the previous stream and this one. I know it's been a couple of hours now, and you know I really love you guys. And I do this for you every single day because you're really important to me. And I just wanted to express my gratitude to you guys for that. Dive, man, you guys are so kind and generous tonight. And thank you so much, Godbrother, for coming on and giving me your experience in the Defense Force, and you know just having this great chat with me. And you know it's really nice to be able to talk with other men who are on the same page as me, who really get and see what I see. And you know to be able to have you, you know, just really go back and forth. And, you know, it was really cool for not just me and not just you, but, you know, all the guys in the stream. So I just want to say I really appreciate you, brother.
No, I mean, the only way we are going to educate other men who obviously never had the guidance that we were blessed that we were raised by our mothers and fathers. So we had the best and worst of both worlds. But there are how many men out there have been lied to, and their daddies, I guess you could say, are the police forces who arrest them when they do something wrong, or the politicians who lie to them and promise them that they will be there for them. And I mean, or the footballers who are probably younger than them, but they idolize these role models and rely on them to give them some form of a release and a form of belonging. I mean, there are so many men out there that don't realize that there are many of us that have gone through the same shit. It's just how have others gone through it? And so many people say, oh, why you're so glum. You know, there's worse people, the people that are going through worse shit, and just think of the people in Africa that are starving and shit. Well, okay, all they got to worry about is, what am I going to eat? What have we got to worry about? Fucking the cost of this. I mean, we have a lot of shit to deal with, and we've all learnt ways on how to get through it, and we've all seen through the lies. But there are some men who haven't, and they need to be shown, or they just need to be reassured. Or, I mean, how many people, especially in Australia, are bullshitted to that, oh, you know, queue up at Anzac Day at all the war memorials and pay your respects for these heroes who fought and died for your country. And many men who have never been in the Defence Force believe that, because they say the only people who enjoy war are the ones who never went to it. Now, I never went to it. I did nothing. I did jack shit. I'm not a hero or anything. I realised it was all full of shit, and you know, and I was able to get out when I did. But there are so many men that are lied to, and they think that it's all heroic, but it's not. It's the amount of lies I was told, and I was able to see through the bullshit. But many men aren't, and many Aussies aren't. They just believe the bullshit. And I mean, the amount of men who join it and think they're going to come out a hero with a uniform and a medal. I mean, I'm glad I never did any of that shit. I'm glad I just wasted my time in it. So there's because I was able to see it a different way, a different perspective that many men don't. But I've even come across other men who have found out the hard way after serving and doing active overseas. And some of them have come back badly, and others have come back thinking they're heroes. But there's just the bullshit that's involved in it now, especially in the officer ranks. Why put your life on the line for a bunch of liars who don't give a fuck about you, and you're just nothing more than a dispensable fucking commodity that they don't care about?
Exactly.
You're like spare change is to a millionaire walking past a busker. Just don't give a fuck.
Yeah, unbelievable, right?
Yep.
By the way, I hope you like my whale that I just shared with everyone. It looks like it's been beached. They've gone off to get the crane to lift it back in the water.
Oh, come on, Sydney. There are some men out there that like women a bit chunky.
And do you know what their mating call is?
I thought it was going to be a KFC jingle, but never mind.
Oh, it's issue I'm pushing, man. But you know, last time I pushed, my hand got caught under those little tucks under the bra strap. Man, that bra strap looks like it's gonna snap and take someone's eye out. Holy shit, man! I need to protect you guys from that.
Or maybe that mating call could be I don't know, the stupid dance that Ellen does before she starts her show.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, NYC Korean Barbecue Kettle Chip says, Sydney, you were in the military, right? Well, NYC Korean, even if I wanted to, I probably wouldn't be able to get in because of the diversity hiring right now. So what are you going to do, you know? Riff Magos just gave me $10 for the harpoon fund. Going to go out whale hunting with that bad boy.
I'm just looking at Brizzy Boy says how he says that his father saw and knew it. And we still, it's his service to classified from the 1960s. So, yeah, I mean, there's so much, hit wrong button. There's so much bullshit, and unfortunately, there's a lot of bullshit that's hidden under secrecy. So,
absolutely there is, and sometimes it's hidden under women sitting on the beach. But God, brother, mate, I'm gonna call it a night on that one, brother. Thank you so much again for everything. I really appreciate it. It's been amazing having a chat with you, and thank you so much for jumping in the streams and always contributing. I look forward to chatting with you again soon. Thank you so much to everybody for donating in the chat. Thank you so much to everyone for participating and sticking with me. Smash that thumbs up if you haven't already, and if this is your first time in the chat, or first time in the box, hit the subscribe button and the bell to make sure that you get my daily red pill notifications. So I'm gonna go. God bother, enjoy your dinner. Have a great night, mate. Drive safe tomorrow when you head back down to Sydney, and I look forward to seeing you guys tomorrow. Peace.